I love having backyard chickens, but as anyone who has chickens knows, there's kind of an ebb and flow to the egg production. There tends to be a huge amount in the springtime. You still get them through the summer and a little into the fall. And then all of a sudden you have hardly any eggs at all. And you go from having more than you need to not having enough for the fall and winter baking. So this is what I do. I water glass my eggs so that I can maintain that excess from the spring to use for my winter baking. There's a couple of different ways to water glass eggs. One of them is to do a lime and water solution, but the problem with that is that it only lasts for about 8 months and you can get a slightly sulfur type taste in your eggs after that. So it's kind of not my preferred way to go, although it is a little bit cheaper to do it that way. What I like to use is the sodium silicate. It's also called water glass. Water glass has all kinds of different uses, from sealing cement to using it as a cleaner. They actually use it as an adhesive to put together cardboard and make it a little bit more stiff. And they can even use it for gluing wine glasses together, the top to the stem. So for this, I actually want to avoid having anything glass to keep it in, because otherwise it can actually build up on the glass. I did it in mason jars for a little while there, and it just wasn't a good solution. So I start with a 3-gallon bucket. I don't think I would go with a 5-gallon bucket, or the eggs would get too heavy and I feel like they would crack each other, at least the ones that were on the bottom. So that wouldn't be a good thing. So I start with 1 cup of the water glass solution and then 10 cups of water. And then I'll mix it together, and the key for this is that it be a 10-to-1 ratio. 1 cup of the sodium silicate with 10 cups of water, or I can do half a cup with 5 cups, just adjust it that way. Now I do have to be careful with this because it's a very basic solution, which is of course the opposite of acidic. So it can burn your skin. You want to make sure that you wear gloves. I've splashed some on myself before and I just wash it off right away. They say that if you get anything on, to go ahead and wash it off for 15 minutes. That's probably a little bit of excess caution, but you do what feels right for you. When I'm actually going to put the eggs into my solution, I need to check them. I don't want to wash them because I want to make sure that the chicken's bloom is still on them, but I don't want there to be any smudges of dirt on it either, because there could be bacteria there. Essentially what the sodium silicate does is it seals the outside of the egg so that no bacteria can get in it. But if there's already bacteria on it, then I'd be sealing that bacteria in the egg itself or on it, and it could potentially get through the pores of the shell. So I use my wire skimmer and I load it up with my eggs and I gently set it down in the liquid. This makes it so that they don't splash and they don't crack against each other. The wire skimmer has really been a great thing to use for this. And then I'll continue every day to just add different eggs down into the bottom until it gets to the point where some of the eggs are sticking out. Then I'll make more of the solution and pour it on top. It works pretty well. Now, in that case, you do want to actually mix the solution together in your gallon-sized jar or whatever it is that you're using before pouring it in here, because you won't be able to stir once it's in with the eggs. I keep a lid over the top of the bucket as I'm filling it so that nothing falls in and I don't risk any egg breakage. And then when it's completely full, I put my lid on and seal it down, and then I'll store it in a cool, dry, dark location. Somewhere around, 65 to 70 degrees is perfect. And then it can actually stay good for up to 2 years is what I've had reported. I haven't gone past a year on using the eggs. They are kind of a little bit interesting though, because when you crack them, they're much thinner than a fresh egg. So I tend to use them either for scrambled eggs or for baking, and then the few fresh eggs that I still have coming in the winter time, those are the ones that I use for my fried eggs. When I want to use my eggs, I'll use my wire skimmer and I'll scoop them up, hold them right over the top of my sink, and I'll just spray them off. I want to make sure that I get all of the sodium silicate off of the outside. It cleans the skimmer, it cleans the eggs, and then I can grab them with my hand and I don't have to worry about the sodium silicate at all. And that's all there is to it, a quick and easy way to store your excess eggs to be able to use them in those winter months for your baking.